Hello there and welcome. This is the third video in my short series on making tools, fixtures and jigs for guitar making. Now then, in this video I'm going to deconstruct one of the tools that I've made. This is the neck holding vise that I use all the time, and I built it a few years ago. But what I thought I'd do is make a video where I deconstruct it so you can see how I put it together. Now, can I talk to you about a problem? Nut slotting. Now, you can buy pre-slotted nuts and they're pretty reasonable. But sometimes you just want to make your own. And a bit of bone, or not sure what this is, plastic. Now then, slotting these nuts is a bit of a problem because the files to do that are really expensive. And as usual, I haven't got a set. Now then, there's an alternative that you can buy on eBay, and that's these pipe cleaning tools. This is a set that my late father-in-law had in his garage. Now they've got sort of an abrasive section on them which you can use to actually file out, you know, a slot. The problem is when you get to the fine ones, they bend and they're really not very easy to use. So I've been trying to rack my brains thinking of a way of fixing these somehow to be able to use them as a nut slotting file. And up to now I've been thinking about using the fact that they've got a ring on one end to sort of attach it in sort of like a mini hacksaw type thing, but it gets really complicated. But this morning I thought of another approach to this which may just work, and I'm going to have a go. Now for this we're going to need a piece of hardwood. Now, so this is a bit of an offcut from a fretboard, a bit of walnut. So I need that. I'm also going to need a way of cutting a hole. Now I need to cut a hole about 20 mil, and the reason I'm cutting a hole 20 mil in diameter is that the actual sort of file part of this is 20 mil. In fact it's 22. And I've got two. I've got a Forstner bit here and I've got a wood hole making bit there. Now then, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to use that one, so I think I might stick with the Forstner bit. So what I'm going to do first of all is just draw a line in the centre of this piece of wood and then mark where I'm going to drill the hole. So where's my pencil? Okay, so this, if I'm right in thinking, is 60. So just mark 30, and I should actually be able to make more than one of these little tools out of this piece of wood. So next I need to mark, I'm going to go for the width of 40, a 40 width, 40 centimetres there, or 40 millimetres, and mark a point there, and then mark the centre of that at 20, just there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill a hole which is either 22 or 20 depending on which bit I use, just there in the middle of this piece of wood. Now I've just found a 22 mil Forstner bit, so I'm going to use that. Got a bandsaw, I might as well use it. Now I'm going to cut it in half. Set this to 30. There we go. Okay, so I've got my two pieces and you can probably see where I'm going with this. Basically what we're going to do is cut a slot across the top there with a very fine saw, and I'm going to use my Japanese pull saw, although if you've got a fretting saw, then you could probably use one of those. And what I'm going to do then is snip one of these pieces off to see if I can super glue it across that gap. So let's see if this is possible. Right, first of all, let's get that in there. I'm just going to do this by eye. So I'm going to put my thumbnail there to stop it going too far back. Let's see if we can just do a slot there. Ooh, that's fairly straightforward. And a slot here. Don't want to go too deep. That looks all right. Now then, let's pick one that's going to go into that slot. Not that one, Dave. You can see these have been well used. Right, there's one behind there somewhere. Come on, there you are. Got you. I found it. Right, let's see. Well, I think it'll go in there. I might just have to make that slot a little bit wider. So I'm going to snip this off now. I'm sure my late father-in-law would approve. All for a good cause. Right, here we go. So what I need to do now is to embed that in the slot. That looks like it's gone in there. Looks like it's going to go in there. Let's do one side at a time. I'm going to put some super glue on there. I'm hoping that super glue will hold it firm. Let's try. Right, I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute. Okay, I think that side is drying there, so now I'm going to push this side in with this screwdriver. Oh! Yeah, being a bit too premature there and not letting that set, so let's go back to there. Let's push that in right into that gap. Go on, get in there. That's it. Right, now then, push this one in as well. Let's see if we can get them both sticking at the same time. There we go. Put a bit more there for good luck. Okay, I think we're going to have to leave that now. Now on this channel I'm going to show you my failures as well as my successes, so if this fails you will see it. Now, so convinced am I that this is going to work that I'm going to use slightly thicker saw to create a thicker version of this, so let's try that. The other one's still drying. Try not to glue my hands to it, as I so often do. That's gone in. And that's gone in. Okay, these look like they've dried off. What I'm going to do is just snip the ends off there. There we go. Might actually just file that down, but well, let's see if it works. I've got an old piece of nut in there. Let's see what happens. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but that is that's actually, it's a bit slow, but that actually is creating a slot. Wow, that looks pretty good. Let's try this one here. This is the thinner one. Okay, well look, now then, this isn't as good, going to be as good as a proper nut slotting file, but as an alternative, of a cheap alternative, do you know what? I think it's going to work. And I think it's going to work, especially if you can perhaps start the slot first. I mean, I've got this old piece of a jigsaw that I quite often use just to start the holes off. And once I've started the holes off, then you can use these just to refine them. But yeah, I think that's going to work. Right, so there we have it, a set of nut filing tools made from this nozzle cleaning set. And I mean, you can buy these on eBay just for a few pounds, so it's a very cost-effective solution. There we go. One of my most useful tools is this neck vise that I made, certainly for clamping in the neck. Now obviously the neck's got a taper to it, so the beauty of this vise with its two bolts here is that I can adjust it to actually fit the neck, and it holds it really rigid, and that's ideal if I'm working on it. So let me just show you how this is put together. Just turn it round. Okay, so I'll just remove these two springs on each side, and then I can pull out this middle section. So as you can see, this middle section has just got some fake leather on the front, stuck on the front, and it's got this piece of aluminium bar on the back and just a couple of holes where the bolts come through. The rest of the unit really is just two blocks of wood. Now these are offcuts from a guitar body that I cut out, so I think they're a bit of ash. Bolted onto some ply, screwed onto some ply I should say, so some big screws at the bottom there. Then what I've done, I've glued in some nuts inside so that these things screw up inside the nuts. There we go. These are just standard bolts, sort of coach bolts that I've bought from probably Wicks or somewhere like that. I actually made these little covers to go on the outside just to seal up the actual bolts. In fact, let's take one of those off. And if you can see that, but basically I've got one of those round headed bolts stuck into the top of this wood here. I've just done an indent, stuck it in, and then just put this piece of aluminium rod through, and that just gives me something to tighten the thing up with. So that's that. Let's do it a bit quicker. There we are. So that's the two handles to enable me to wind this in and out. So basically this middle paddle just fits in there, goes into that bar, goes into that hole, and then I just use a couple of springs just to keep it back. Okay, and now we've got full adjustment. And so when the neck is slightly bent, you can use this, and there is some give in it. There's not a lot of give in it, but there's enough to hold a neck with its angle in there. So this is the last in the short series on making homemade jigs and tools, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I've had great fun making this and making those tools. Now I'm going to get on and start making some guitars, so I better get on with that, and I'll see you soon. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Cheers.